Hi, Shauna. How are you?
Hi, Sharifa. How are you?
I'm doing well. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. I am Shauna Underwood. I own my own business named Shauna Underwood Interior Design here in Washington, D.C. And thank you for having me today.
So you are interior designer by trade,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And we're inviting you today to sort of talk about design and how design can impact wellness and what might be some tips and tricks for educators as they design their classrooms and they think about the space that they have with their students. I just wanted to invite you on to sort of give some advice related to that.
Sure, definitely.
So I have a few questions, and our first question is, how can design help improve mental health?
Well, definitely interior design can improve mental health, especially in the classroom. And there's a lot to consider for grades K through 12, and for teachers. School can be stressful and there can be a lot going on. So you definitely want to consider some interior design and psychology principles together that can improve the emotional impacts of a space. Some examples of how to improve mental health in the classroom is you want to consider designing an open space. A sense of spaciousness can give a sense of freedom. Openness can also elevate a student and staff's mood and encourage creativity. Definitely incorporating live plants. I think since COVID, a lot of people have been more incorporating live plants and taking care of plants. So definitely integrating those into your environment, or elements of nature that can contribute to relaxation and reduce stress. Also considering planned seating arrangements to encourage collaboration and conversation, and creating quiet and intimate zones for focus and personal time that can definitely help in the classroom and help with the mental health. Another one is furniture layouts that can maximize natural light. Natural light can improve productivity and the feeling of happiness. And another one that's not really considered too much are classroom pets. You could designate a special place for a classroom pet, which helps students feel happier and more connected to their school environment. So those are just some examples, just off the hand of what can help improve mental health in the classroom.
So the classroom pet, I want to start with the end because the classroom pet is a big thing for like elementary students,
Mhm.
even. But do you think that that might be something that would be even helpful for advanced students, and your junior high and high school students?
I think so. Like, I think older students definitely also want to have a sense of responsibility, comfort, having something they can feel like they're taking care of them. So I think definitely a classroom pet can bring happiness, comfort. A lot of students may have pets at home and they enjoy being around animals. So that might be something that could encourage that for older students too.
So something even just as small as like a mini aquarium, right? Like it doesn't have
Exactly.
to be something big.
Yeah,
Hmm.
even with an aquarium, like the colors or the sound of water can be soothing. It can be almost like a white noise sometimes. So that definitely could be a good thing to incorporate into a classroom. Also looking at when you do like quiet or reading zones or spaces in a classroom, you could probably put that classroom pet, like an aquarium or something like that in that area of the classroom, so that when that person goes to collect themselves or to relax or to just be by themselves, they also have that pet there. They can take the focus off of them and what's going on in the classroom and more focus on the classroom pet or feel more comfortable. So definitely that's just something that, we don't typically consider, but it can play a part into the design of the classroom.
Hmm. And you mentioned something about having some sort of open spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know, it's interesting because as I reflect on my elementary years, open space was always a part of the elementary classrooms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when I think about my high school classrooms, maybe my English class was like the only one that I think that had more open space. Like, they set the desk up in a circle to facilitate, discussions and group discussions about the literature. But when I think about my science and math classes, especially, it was like row, seat, so everybody can like see the chalkboard. So what do you think about that? Like, do you think they should think differently, or they should structure it still with that sort of open space, or how do you think they should integrate that?
Definitely. I think with creating that sense of openness or open environment, I think you can also think about having flexible seating, what I'm saying, like tables and chairs that you can easily move around to accommodate your teaching style or the lesson that you're teaching the students that day. You definitely want to incorporate furniture that's flexible, because then that gives you so much flexibility on the seating arrangements. But openness can also mean like having clear floor space, the space not feeling cluttered, or like having, being overwhelmed with a bunch of stuff, creating these open circulation pathways that you can get around the classroom can also give that sense of calmness, and it can make you feel less overwhelmed, just being able to get around the classroom easily and not bumping into other chairs and tables. So that sense of openness can also go back to like the circulation in the space. That openness it can feel more open if you have a lot of natural light in the space coming from the windows. And that can give that sense. And so yeah, there's lots of ways to create that feeling of openness, not always thinking about physically the furniture, but other ways as far as like lighting, circulation, maybe the airflow in the space can make the space feel more open. But yeah, definitely getting things off the floor and having flexible seating can help that.
Okay. Now, you mentioned plants, and I see there's a beautiful fig plant you have behind you now, and that I have yet to be successful with my fig leaf plant. So what type of plants might be easy to incorporate in a classroom that are, I don't know, do we call them sustainable, or do we call them less fickle, where they tend to grow, but also can help clean the air out, and can also help provide some type of relaxation in the classroom?
Sure. Yeah, there's a couple plants that are easy to maintain in a classroom that don't take a lot of maintenance. There's like the Z plant. There's the Z plant and the snake plant. Those are two that are easy, low maintenance. The one I have behind me is a fiddle leaf fig tree. It can be a little temperamental, but like once it finds its spot and you kind of get on a schedule of watering it, it can be easy to maintain too. I tend to like this particular plant because it can add height to a space, and like the vibrant green leaves can definitely make you feel like, it gives you a sense of nature and bringing the outside into the space. And if you have a classroom that has a lot of window space, they tend to do well in those type of environments. So
now you didn't talk, but I want to ask about colors, right? Like, so are there certain colors that you can recommend that may also help create sort of a calm, more soothing environment, or what do you think around that?
Sure. With color, there's a lot of color theory that you can take into consideration when planning your classroom space. Lighter pale tones tend to be more relaxing to the eye and to people. Whereas like red, usually associated with like anxiety or something, it can be a lot more alarming with the color red. But you want to probably consider like cooler colors like blues, greens, purples, lavenders. Like those are colors that are typically on the cooler side of the spectrum, and those colors can tend to make you feel relaxed and calm. There are some other things to consider too with color, like reds, yellows, and oranges. They're considered warm colors, and deep saturated colors can feel intense or energizing, like emerald green. There are some other things like
well, wait a minute. Do we want the emerald greens, or are we want to use them sparingly? Like where would we How would we
I would
work
say
with
use
it?
them sparingly, because emerald, that vibrant color, bold color, can make you feel energized. So it can get you kind of motivated, energized in the classroom. Like, emerald green is like this plant color. That plant can make you feel energized and alive, right? Also, warm, vibrant colors can also help the students feel more welcome and encourage communication. So a lot of schools use those colors in like lobby
Mhm.
areas, or hallways, because and that could be a color like a warm orange or a yellow. But the most effective color in a classroom is blue. Blue or green teaching walls can actually draw students' attention to the instructor. So you'll see a lot of color theory being where they put blue or green paint on like the wall that has like the whiteboard or the monitor or where the teacher stands in front of the class, because that color can actually get their focus in the front of the classroom. White is also a good color that can be calming. Um, and yellow is good in small doses and can increase your memory, but it can be tiring to your eyes. So you got to be careful with yellow sometimes.
Okay. So it's a lot I think that they can choose from, but I also hear that they want to sort of mix and match for kind of how they want their classroom to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So their reading corner may be more relaxing, definitely not energized,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the blue, like you said, to draw the attention to the whiteboard or
Mm-hmm.
to the monitor. So they want to sort of play around with it and think. And I hear you also suggest even research or review, some colors and how they may help the classroom.
Exactly. And along with colors, you also want to think about cohesion. You want your colors and your furniture and all that to have some kind of sort of cohesion and balance, because that can also be soothing to the eye and relaxing. When there's a lot of when furniture or colors feel like they're not supposed to be there, that could be distracting, that could be alarming. So you definitely want to be able to incorporate balance, harmony, unity, and you can create that with cohesion. So definitely consider, like, when you choose colors for your classroom, think about how they transition into each other. Think about how the fabrics and the colors and textures on the furniture, you know, coordinate with the paint colors in the space, because you definitely want to feel like everything's cohesive and it's intentional and it's functional, so you can have that balance and that harmony.
Mhm. So what about, and I didn't ask you about this, but what do you think in terms of the teacher's desk? Like, what do
Mm-hmm.
you think would be helpful for them to like relax if they're like sitting at their desk or they need a moment to decompress? What might be helpful in terms of design and color for them?
I would say for a teacher's desk, you definitely probably want to locate their desk near a window, near natural light. That can, like, just like for students, it can also energize them, it can motivate them. They find that being close to windows and natural light can improve productivity. So definitely, if you're get tired during the day, maybe sitting close to the window could give you some more energy and improve your productivity for the day. But also, I think, let's not forget about when you need your personal time in the classroom, like that quiet zone that you may create for students. Maybe it's a sophisticated area where a teacher could go also and have a quiet zone. Like maybe the students are working on homework or an assignment, and they just want to go back to that little quiet corner and just like be there and have a nice lounge, soft upholstered chair where they can sit there and just maybe look at some papers and grade papers, and it could be relaxing for them too, and not have to worry, not always thinking that they could go back to their hard desk in a hard chair, maybe go into a comfortable lounge chair that has like a tablet arm or something like that, that they can change their environment, change their seating and their comfort to make them feel more relaxed.
I didn't think about that. So the twofer, you want
Yeah.
the quiet, secluded area to not just be something for students, but also something that they would feel comfortable in.
Exactly.
And so, because I see most of those spaces again, sort of designed for children with maybe
Mm-hmm,
a
mm-hmm.
beanbag chair or a soft chair. And it's like,
Yeah.
we're not getting down in that. But but to maybe have, a softer formless chair, but then also chair where a teacher or an adult could sit in there as well, to decompress and debrief, like you said, while they're in the class, so they don't have to leave and go to the teacher's
Yeah.
lounge, and create that space for them.
Yeah, because actually, if you had like the two sets of seating, like something smaller for the for a smaller child and a more grown-up lounge chair, even though you can, a teacher could meet one-on-one with a student in those zones. You know what I'm saying? It could be a one-on-one, it could be multi-purpose. It could be for them personally, or it could be for them to meet with a student one-on-one. So definitely taking advantage of those spaces and those zones can definitely help, I think, improve the mental health and, students' feelings and even, teachers' feelings throughout the day, because it can be stressful. And sometimes you just need to have a place where you can, recharge and regroup sometimes, because it can be a lot sometimes.
All right. So, well, they don't know, but we was just talking off camera about how I like to shop for a bargain now.
Yes.
So are there any go-to organizations, stores, because teachers, we know we don't pay them as much as we should and can. And so a lot of times they have to do this sort of out of pocket, but they do have, teacher appreciation days, and some schools have outstanding PTA organizations. So what might be some gift cards, some places that parents, that teachers, that these organizations can begin to shop at so they can get some of these great items?
Sure. Definitely organization can improve the space, and you definitely want to incorporate. My go-tos are always like freeing up that floor space, getting some bookshelves, considering doing like, bookshelves that appear lighter in weight, so don't feel bulky and heavy. So maybe something that has an open back, that's a lighter color, like white or something like that can blend into the wall. Those are always good to be able to take advantage of your vertical space and maximize storage. Also thinking about clear labeled bins, so that you can easily, the staff and the student can easily find items, and put shared baskets that you can put in the quiet zone or whatever that has like books in it, so that that woven texture can give a sense of warmth and comfort and maybe feel like you're at home. And so those items I think you can easily find at like Target, Wayfair, Amazon. So I encourage, teachers or even parents parents to provide like gift cards to, those stores, or even Container Store has a bunch of organization supplies and tools that you can use in your classroom. But definitely, Amazon, you can get almost anything on Amazon. So that's always a good, Amazon gift card is always a good thing for teachers. And I would say, don't be afraid to, make a supply list for your parents, for your kids' parents. You never know. People might be willing to donate, bookshelves or bins that they may not be using. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask for those supplies that you need for your classroom.
So go-to stores are here are some of the big multi-purposes places. So Amazon, Target, you mentioned another one. Oh, Wayfair.
Right.
But then also thinking about maybe more specific stores too. So like the Container Store for some of the specific, maybe unique needs.
And also, don't, Facebook Marketplace, that's a great place to find, that type of stuff, because people are always moving, getting rid of stuff. So you can definitely find those type of items through Facebook Marketplace for hardly anything. So don't be afraid to look there. You can find office task chairs, maybe lounge chairs or bean bags. You can find those on Facebook Marketplace. So don't be afraid to look there either.
All right. And last but certainly not least, are there any sort of final tips and tricks that you want to leave? Before I ask that question, one thing I forgot
Okay.
is, what about the teacher lounge space? Like, what do you think teachers should have in their like lounge area that may be helpful?
I think in the teacher's lounge, again, having a place where they can go and recharge, regroup, maybe even collaborate with their coworkers. So you definitely want to have, again, flexible seating. Maybe you have a table and chairs in there, or either a group of lounge chairs together, that the teachers can sit and collaborate, share, share lesson plans, or just to talk, through some issues that they may be having in the classroom, but make it comfortable, incorporate rugs, throw rugs, or, throw pillows, maybe little love seats or chairs that they can relax and lounge. Definitely incorporate plants in those spaces too, and natural light. But I would also say one of my tips would be, talk about tips. I would say also bring, don't forget lighting, like table lamps, floor lamps, those type of things can change the environment in a space. Like, so not always having that harsh, blue overhead light on you. Maybe you want to turn those down and turn on a table lamp or a task light that can bring that ambient lighting in there. And it's a softer, warmer tone to make you feel like you're more at home versus in an institutional environment. So consider lighting for those spaces too.
All right. And so any last minute tips and tricks?
I would say definitely, with the technology and the kids with, the screens and phones and monitors and all that, definitely cut back on blue light, minimize the blue light that you have from screens and phones. That can increase your visual fatigue. And also consider shapes of furniture. Softer shapes like, round tables and ottomans and bean bags. Those can give a sense of comfort, and make you feel more relaxed. Whereas a straight, sharp edge table or desk can feel more formal and uninviting. Also consider organic materials like, for flooring or for furniture or decor. They are better for the environment, but they're also give you a sense of being grounded in the environment and surrounded by nature. So you're contributing to the environmental footprint, but less waste, but you're also, it improves your well-being and makes you feel like you're more a part of the environment and a lot more relaxing, because again, it's going to have those lighter tones, those green colors sometimes, so those can contribute to the way that you feel.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Miss Underwood.
Thank you, Sharifa.
And so besides being my friend, and besides being a great personal interior designer, where they can find you at Shauna Underwood. What
Yes,
is it? S
my
Underwood?
I have a website, www.sunderwooddesign.com. I'm also on Instagram and just Instagram, not all that social. So just on Instagram. But definitely
Yeah.
check out my website, and all my contact information is there.
But her additional passion is also, she designs for the Library of Congress, and helps to ensure that their workspaces, meet their functionality as well as wellness needs also. And so it's great to have you on today. It's great for you to share your tips and helpful information with educators. And you all, please feel free to download the slides that are also linked below the video.
Yes, and feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.